Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another scene for the Living World of Darkness of Rage Across New York. Today's scene is set on the Sept of the Green in the vicinity of the Shrine to Stag, which is also, at least immediately adjacently, the Shrine to the Hind. And here, Tenpoint is seeing to her daily duties, not only to either of the spirits of her totem's brood, but also, of all things, tending to a small swarm of various elemental spirits that have gathered there and never seem to find much reason to leave. There's also, for this point of not forgetting him in this scene, there is a tiny white mouse, which, seeing as this will be Umberside, is tiny white mouse spirit, just kind of chilling, clinging to one of her antlers as she goes about the daily process of sweeping the area clean of debris, burying the earth under her bare feet, dumping and then refilling a massive wooden bowl of clean water, lighting some incense, and taking a moment to brush her fingers across a wind chime that has been set nearby, found at some point during her keeper duties and cleaning up the park, something some kid probably left behind. It's not an expensive little wind chime, but the feeling's there, right? That counts for something. So yeah, she's just kind of going through her daily activities with to all appearances, a sense of peace and duty about it. And meanwhile, these elementals, all four type, are just kind of flitting around, hanging out near the Hind's statue, perhaps flitting around Tenpoint herself. And none of them squabbling or showing over much or over little interest. They're just kind of chilling there.
Kathleen has been going through the sept. Actually has like some kind of a bag, more like a sack, actually, with her, in which she gathers all kinds of shiny stuff that she finds. Anything from like beer bottle caps to a piece of leftover aluminum foil to empty cans and stuff like that. Anything as long as she can make it shiny at some point. She has her bag kind of half full as she is coming across the area where the Stag Shrine is. And she's been avoiding that area, but not too long ago she got told that she will have to perform some sort of tunage, some sort of respect in any kind of way yet to be determined to this spirit. So she will actually at that point kind of wander into kind of getting a view of the shrine, seeing what it's built up from, seeing what kind of offerings are being made, just to get a sort of impression on the spirit. So she walks over, and she'll stop at like somewhere in between the trees as she sees Tenpoint there, kind of hesitating what she's doing or what she's gonna do, if she's gonna leave there and come back when there's no one there, or if she's just gonna approach this Fiona, or if she's just gonna watch. She's not sure. She is gently hesitant. However, since she does have spirit magnets, Tenpoint would probably see some of the spirits kind of curiously going over to her or to Tlate.
I'm sure the water spirits in particular all just kind of magnet over to her. Soomp.
Actually, water spirits need water. They don't leave their natural habitat, so...
In theory, this is why she has the bowl.
Because
I was told they were there, and I was like, there's no water here, though. I guess I'll make this make sense.
So it'd probably be like reaching out, looking over to Platine. There might be some of the other elementals that are a bit more bolder and are actually capable of moving around, that might just go over to her. Some of the wind spirits kind of pushing against her.
Playing in her hair.
Yeah, so she's just standing there, feeling a bit awkward at that point.
I mean, 10 Point will glance over to see where the hell they're suddenly going, because they don't really take interest in much unless she's like, well, when she was working on the Shrine to the Hind, they were taking interest in that, but yeah, they haven't taken interest in much of anything. So when they start all flitting away, she kind of glances over, sees them. I mean, Talate is a lot harder, or a lot easier to spot when her hair is being flipped around wildly by really playful wind spirits. So
Yeah, especially with all the drops of her spirit heritage of water kind of flying through the air, which I'm sure the wind spirits will find hilarious.
Oh, I'm sure they will. All the more initiative to mess with it. So yeah, 10 Point will look over and we'll probably just kind of grin because, well, they gotcha. She doesn't seem to feel any particular way about being spotted in her so-called natural habitat. And just a notice to the whole way in which Stag is depicted. Stag himself is, I mean, one tends to assume that when you do a statue of something, you make that look proud and honorable and whatnot. But many of the totems exhibit different traits than that. But in the case of Stag, he's definitely very proud, very boldly posed, and his antlers have almost been brought around in such a way that they give hints at being a crown. All in all, it's a very brass, very bold, like, impression. Meanwhile, alongside him, the hind is draped on the ground, curled around the small statue of a human child and a wolf cub. And all in all, it just looks much more demure. It looks almost motherly in comparison. So there's definitely some information to be gained just by kind of paying attention to the impression that is given in regards to those two particular spirits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is. She's watching, and as she realizes that, yeah, she's been spotted. She'll let like the spirits toy with her hair and her clothes and whatnot. Like if they're fire elemental, she might be a little bit more cautious with her hair. But yeah, she'll kind of take a couple of steps closer because there's no point in trying to sneak back if you're spotted.
Been hella spotted. Yep.
So yeah, she'll walk up and point to the shrines, takes a closer look at the different kind of offerings that are displayed there. Well, not at 10 points. Doesn't really know how to start because usually she just started with rolling over. And this is weird. It feels weird. It's easier when everything is like higher than you are. 10 points.
Good day, Raya. And she'll nod to the basket or bag or whatever she's carrying. I hope you are making progress.
I've been mostly collecting materials so far. I do have an idea what I want, but I might need use of a smith for that. It's going to be a challenge.
Not as practiced as some, but I am certain I can be of help.
You know how to melt metals?
Yes.
Many
Fianna are craftsmen, and they feel strongly about the things that they make, and they become the masters of their craft. I was not so fortunate as to take one that is truly my own, besides the carving of my antlers. But I've learned a bit of this and that from other Theurges, other Galliards, other Fianna.
I see. My people mostly worked with materials we found in our surroundings. My steps are remote, so there were some towns nearby, but not enough to really have a lot of metalworking.
She nods understanding. Now, there are many a woven cord or fine weapon that has been made by Fianna. It is thankfully one of our more well-known crafts.
Taltahin's face changes a little, like only a little. There is just a little hint of, yeah, I know all about your weapons, but like, it's just really like just a quick flash, and then like it's gone because yeah, there's really no point in like being salty about everything, which is a step forward from her. So she'll nod. If you would be able to help out, that would be appreciated. I know you're well. I know a lot of Garu here and a lot of humans in these areas. She's trying very hard not to say wormcomers. Are used to returning a favor. Is there a favor that you would like for me to do if you were to help me with this? It sounds completely ridiculous coming out of her mouth.
Yeah, I was going to say the awkwardness, if nothing else, is going to cue her in, and she'll give her head a light shake. You have helped when I have needed help, and so I will help when you need help. If there's something I can offer, then I will do it for you.
Right. Thank you.
She's just like, oh, thank God. Like,
it's more like, wow, I was expecting that from like a Fianna, Oh, this is really bad. It's like, yeah, no, she actually didn't expect anyone to really repay her for anything. So it's weird. It's both like something that's not in her culture as well the fact that she's a Metis. Why should anyone repay her anything?
We are quite the ambiguous duo.
So she will nod. Thank you.
Of course.
I understand you have not yet learned the rite of cleansing.
I have not.
If you wish, I could teach you and show you how it's done. Maybe that would help with things like what happened not too long ago.
Yes. It was a sacrifice I was willing to make, but perhaps a sacrifice I am better off finding an alternative to in the future.
It was confusing.
I hadn't considered the other methods it might use to inflict suffering. I knew that it was suffering and not simply pain, but while it resided within the kinfolk, that was all that it did, was strike him with pain. And pain is something that I can tolerate.
Yes.
I apologize. Because knowing that a Bane...
Why?
I think that perhaps if I had not hosted it, and it hadn't been forced to change tactics, perhaps it wouldn't have taken on the image it did.
It is not up to you to apologize for the workings of a bane. You did not force it to, you didn't command it to. It acted out of its own will, not yours. You may be a wormcomer. That doesn't make you worm tainted.
Much appreciated, Raya.
I think it would be best if all theurgists learn the rite of cleansing. It is very useful, even though it is not a rite that comes to us as easily as it comes to the half moons. It is still very useful in our dealings, the dealings that concern our auspice.
It is. And it is perhaps past time.
Well,
For your bag. And she's going to move over, and there's a handful of her things off to the side from where she had begun sitting them during her work on the Hind Shrine, and since then has just stowed various little in-progress works. And while the original project that she meant to make with this is no longer something she's prioritizing, she nonetheless pulls out what turns out to be a essentially a fairly narrow but fairly broad little essentially very flat riverstone. And you can tell as she walks back over with it, not only has she spent hours and hours and hours smoothing and essentially sanding down and rendering this thing completely and perfectly flat, but she has managed to find such a stone as that by its very nature it's somewhat reflective. And between all the grinding and the work that she's put into it, and finally the various coatings that have been brushed over it, it's almost mirror reflective. And she'll offer that across. And it's a bit heavy, maybe, but not terribly, because again, it's a fairly flat piece of stone. Probably started as some sort of piece of slate or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this counts as shiny, but perhaps it'll be of use to you one way or another.
She'll accept it and hold it like her with the webbing in between her fingers. Her hands are almost like are very easily formed into some sort of a scale.
Yep. Thinking about it and looking at my hand, I'd say it's maybe at least a bit bigger around than if you splayed your hands out, like splayed your fingers out, like and balanced it on your palm. It would go a little bit further than that, but not far. It's not huge, but it's definitely big enough to serve as like a face mirror.
She probably will need two hands because, yeah, she's small.
She's very little.
Yes. So she'll take it and kind of look it over and let her finger, like one of her fingers, kind of slide over it, probably her thumb, because that can actually move around it a little bit. And she'll nod and carefully place it, like in the back. We'll actually kind of grab a cloth and we'll wrap it around it because, yeah, there's like bags, there's like cans and probably like pieces of glass because that can shimmer as well a little bit. So, yeah, do not damage the surface. You will wrap it in a cloth and then put it in the bag. Thank you. It is. I didn't expect others to help out. After all, it's my chimnage to pay.
Perhaps, but the task that you asked of them has served the entire sept. I don't see any reason that we should not, therefore, aid in the payment. We've all benefited.
Yes. As I said, I just didn't expect it.
And she'll cant her head a bit thoughtfully, because this is the second thing that she just blatantly hasn't expected. So she'll kind of tip her head for a second and kind of look aside to make it less personal and less weird. And comment offhandedly, of course, because no need to make this weird. Well, then I hope perhaps that in the future, while you may not expect much of others, you expect better of me.
I will. I find your tribe difficult to deal with.
It is not a one-sided problem by any means,
I know.
but perhaps it is all the better then that the two of us can meet halfway.
She'll nod thoughtfully as if she's like really nourishing that thought, like seeing it for the first time and then mulling over it for a bit, and I will think about it. Actually, you have a lot of elemental spirits here at your shrines.
I do.
Although the water is a very close friend of mine, I have little experience with the other ones, and I soon have a deal to make. I hope to make a deal with the wind spirits. Do you perhaps know what they would prefer as Chiminich? I can imagine a few things, but some more advice would be helpful.
Of course, though, in the interest of making sure that we both don't try to do the same thing, is this in regards to the smog and the effect that the Shattered Hearts had on our group, blinding us?
No,
Okay.
no, but if you need help with that, I will need to catch a new, or I need to ask a new water spirit to join our fights there, because
Yes.
the one that was in the bottle was, well,
Was put to other use. Yes.
yes.
That did happen. The wind, I feel as though the important thing to remember is that it is a lot of a gamble. It's a very sharp gamble to summon the wind, just because it does not appreciate being pulled down from where it runs and sings. And Finding Tempest was not completely wrong in the idea of offering incense, offering fine smells, offering songs. It likes to have things to carry with it, and depending on which wind you call on, it may prefer different things. But sounds and smells it can carry, and if I recall correctly, wearing feathers, wearing white or blue, definitely appeal to it more.
She'll look down at her blue clothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And she'll nod. I see. I have yet to hear from Alana what this deal was with this chiminage that she needed payment for.
She, it seems, went into debt previous to her challenge for Adrian. I actually was doing Chiminage to the Wind for a good 2 weeks before she put out her call for aid. because I had found that the spirits were ill at ease. I just didn't know why. She and Felix were both in Chiminage debt. The difference is that she pressed on with a challenge for higher rank, and Felix came and spoke to me on the matter and made plans to correct his debt.
I see. What was the agreement made?
I believe, if I recall right from what Felix told me, it was to do with the place that we went before, the factory. There was smog there, and he said something about doing chiminage to the wind so that it would help either hide them from it or help them move through it. I can't remember exactly what the details were. It was a while ago that he spoke to us about it, and it was in passing. But that is why I was insistent on going along with him to seek out the smog and deal with it. I just wish that we'd gotten a bit further on it.
She'll kind of scratch her face, scratch the scars that are there. It should just not. Yes, it is a shame we couldn't finish it. But we can return.
That's...
Actually, come to think of that, I have something else that I might need your help with, or I do not need your help with it, but something that you might appreciate.
All right.
But I'll get to that later. As for the wind spirits, I am sure that your packmate informed you of the quest that Chloe has taken upon herself.
He has mentioned it.
The force that we'll have to fight is pretty strong, and I'm looking for ways to give support. I have found one way, but I was thinking I wanted to ask the wind spirits to form a barrier so that we could have a shot at least taking their leader without the support of her pack. It is something that will probably require a lot of payment.
This is true. Do you have any idea where they will be facing them? Will it be in the city?
I do not know this yet, but I presume it will be on their home turf, which at least used to be Staten Island, but yeah.
Not good.
No.
You'll have to bind something big enough. If you think about it, there will be a number of tainted spirits there. And if they pull down the spirit before it can perform its service, then the deal was for nothing. Is there no way they could maybe taunt them out of that island?
I think I can find a couple of ways in which that could be done. That is actually not the hardest part. I think we can easily lure them to a place of our choosing. I am not sure, though. But I have a few ideas in mind for that. Especially with Chimera's gift.
No, fair. Yes. Yes, if you could pull them out, the wind is probably the best way to keep them separated. I wouldn't risk using the earth spirits even in the Umbra just because it might reflect on the Tellurian.
Basically, any any bite or claw that does not go to us, but will go to the winds, would be one that we would not have to face. And although I am Wendigo and endurance is part of our way of life, I feel this is a smarter move than heading into it without a proper plan.
There's something to be said for strategy.
Yes.
You may try speaking to a larger spirit than those here. They're fairly small. Or if you mean to speak to a larger one to gain this larger effect, either perhaps do so through one of these younger ones, or seek one of the highest points in the city. Go to them instead of making them come to you. You will endear it at least somewhat that way.
I might know of one such place. That is good advice, thank you.
Of course.
Yes. And it will definitely require a strong spirit. I do realize that. We've already spoken with another one, a spirit of love, who is willing to help us out. It's a very complicated situation, but I feel that there are several spirits that we can get on our side and get help from. But thank you for your information.
Of course.
If you would like to follow me to our cabin, I could give you the thing that I think you would be very interested in.
All right. She'll ensure that the incense is set in such a way that it can be left burning without needing to be attended, even if one of the little fire spirits gets a little enthusiastic. Kind of tucked in the dirt off to one side, So the worst it can do is burn down to nothing. So she'll go around, kind of do that compulsive thing of just making things that tiny bit more tidy than they were already, that no one else can actually fucking tell the difference on, and then we'll move to follow.
Yep, and Tlata will lead 10 Point to their cabin. I'm sure 10 Point knows exactly where it is. She will ask her, though, to, there is a tiny, well, tiny, there's a herbal garden kind of thing going about, like, on the side of the cabin. She'll ask 10 Point to just wait there.
10 Point almost seems relieved, honestly, to be asked to wait just a bit away from the cabin. Yeah. She doesn't know who's home or how they feel about her.
No, exactly. The same with Latine, so yeah. She will ask if 10 Point wants something to drink, some refreshments or something.
She'll probably just accept the first things that's offered.
It's basically just, tea, water, coffee. That's basically all that Latine would find interesting, so would be all that she would be offering.
Probably coffee, just because it's that's a rare treat for 10 Point.
Aww. So yeah, she'll nod and disappear into the house, and actually rather quickly comes out carrying like a thermos flask and 2 cups, and a plastic animal mask, like one of those really cheap ones. Actually, I just realized it would be rather weird to have a thermos flask in the Umbra. So, but she has an empty slot.
I was gonna say we can pop across if we need to or whatever.
Yeah, we can just pop across. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do a quick little.
Oh fuck. Could you roll for me? I would have to get on dice stream or dice roller for that.
Gotcha.
It's 5 for me.
All right. 5d10. Latte sidestep. Boop. You're fine, because the Umbra is
Yeah.
like next to nothing here. And I will do mine. Yeah, we're both gold.
Okay, cool. So yeah, well, she comes back with the thermos flask, 2 cups, and yeah, the plastic mask. And you don't notice anything weird about it in the Tellurian, although you may have heard of like plastic masks or anything. I don't know.
Probably not, since I don't think there are any mask tailings for Fiona.
No, but
Oh.
there was actually some sort of enemy, I believe, that walked with masks. Did something
Oh.
with that, and I don't know if you've heard of it. I barely hadn't, so I can't give you the full details.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, even out of game, I'm not sure what's on, but. So I'm going to assume that she's
Yeah,
pleasantly, blissfully unaware for the moment.
that's perfectly fine. So she'll pour coffee in the mugs, and would ask if 10 Point would take like milk or sugar in it as well.
I mean, if she hasn't brought any out, 10 Point's not going to make her go back in for it. She already has like that little guilty pleasure look on her face, like, ooh.
Yeah, no, she didn't, because she usually drinks it just black, because
Yeah,
fuck it, why
10
not,
Point
you
will
know?
happily drink it black. She might do more with it if the stuff was right there on hand, but nah, she's so happy to have it even black. She gonna take it.
She actually does take out like a little thing with like nutmeg, and
So
we'll offer it.
inquisitive. But we'll try it because why not? New thing in the coffee. This can't be bad. It's still coffee.
Yeah, just like a tiny little bit. You don't pour a lot in it, but yeah. Mm. She'll then like sit down next to her kind of garden thingy, and we'll hand the mask to 10 Point. So when my pack and I were dealing with my fasting challenge, we found this mask, and it held a tainted spirit of a deer.
There's moderate frowny face. What does the mask actually look like? Just
It, oh god, I believe it was like one of those very cheap $1 kind of fluffy masks of an animal. So for some reason my head says a lion, but I'm not even sure.
okay. So it's some just little goofy mask. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's flipping it around, looking at it, but listening keenly.
We took the time to cleanse it, but we have not yet freed the spirit.
Blink.
I figured that since you are a Fiona, I had plans if things went better between our groups to release it, or to ask it if it would be willing to help you out as a pack. I realize now that that will be difficult.
Things have been fairly difficult, but I appreciate this.
I will leave it up to you whether you wish to talk to it and see if you could ask for its favor, or whether you would just wish to set it free.
I think it will be important first to speak to it whether I ask for anything or not, but to know what it is or who it is I'm letting loose. But yes, I'll probably will just let them free. But
It
still,
is a
this means
small
a
one.
lot to me.
She'll nod. Yeah, just nod, and then takes kind of, yeah, just kind of hides her face in the coffee mug.
Like you do.
Yeah, you know.
I know most people wouldn't call us friends to latte, but you're probably about the closest equivalent I've got. Thank you.
There is more slurping from the coffee.
She's not looking at her face or anything. She's very politely not looking at her face, in fact, so that she doesn't have to like completely hide behind her coffee cup.
She finally kind of like takes her cup like in her, like basically put it in between her legs, just to make sure it stays steady. You can actually see that she has red cheeks, and she's looking everywhere but at 10 points at that point.
They're both so carefully not looking at each other.
I thank you.
You're welcome.
So much awkward silence.
And she will be caught between like trying not to create an awkward silence, but oh my god, this coffee, I want to put it in my face. So she'll probably at one point finally show just a teeny bit of that ridiculous Fiona drinking habit, in that she will be able to kick this stuff back pretty quickly there at the end. She won't like just suddenly kick back the entire cup, but and it'll be obviously in haste, not for lack of appreciation, and she'll finally offer the cup back. I should look into this, I think, and I will speak to my pack again. I do hope that things go better in the future, or as well as they can.
I doubt it. Your pack. You are what you are, and we are what we are.
Then perhaps the mutual respect is enough. Perhaps not for each other as people, but for the understanding that we are different.
As far as I'm concerned, I have, as far as I could, respected your pack. You are a capable pack. And despite our differences, I know I can trust you when needed, and it will be needed soon. I think.
She gives a nod.
She says that, she sounds hesitant, conflicted about it. And yeah, it's clearly something that she finds very difficult to say, so yeah. Because it's kind of like goes against everything that she's been brought up with. So yeah, she'll still look away, like kind of like looking over her plants and her herbs and see if there's anything that she can like pull out of the ground, like any weeds or
a weed way over there.
Get rid of it now.
And 10 Point will stand and give a polite nod because, well, you know what? She was, even if hospitality between their tribes is not exactly the same, there's still something to be said for giving respect to one who is offered hospitality, even out in the garden. So she'll rouse up, and then she'll give like this weird half bow of like, I'm trying to make a point of showing respect, but I'm also trying not to be so fucking Fiona it hurts you on the inside.
She'll stand up as well, and we'll pay respect in almost an equal manner because, yeah, Wendigo are actually rather polite. Usually. Except when they're not.
Except when they're eating you. I don't know. Like, there seems to be no halfway point.
No, I don't see Wendigo as any kind of halfway.
Yeah, that seems legit. And yeah, she'll kind of start to turn and say, until next we were able to speak, Tate. Thank you again.
I think we need to gather as theurges again soon. I have a few ideas that might be worth looking into regarding this kinfolk matter, but I do not approach kinfolk, so I would need input of those who understand them.
Ah, good. Yes. I'll be happy to meet with you on it, and depending on which kinfolk need approaching, I can pass word as necessary.
I have been thinking about finding a way to tracking the kinfolk or giving them some form of protection. I've heard stories of a lot of them going missing.
Yes.
We need to
dying.
protect them.
All at the hands of the same spiral, from what I can tell.
Mm.
She's very good at picking them out.
Yeah, and as I said, we need to protect the kin. They are important.
And for what it's worth, if I gauged right when I saw her, when we chased her, the one that took the face of Alana, I think, she was at least in Adrian rank.
I wonder if it's connected to... Well, they would probably know each other at least.
When her pack came howling to greet her and to defend her, they were too far off for me to gauge rank.
I was thinking about either working together with all the urges to make a deal with the kinfetch spirits, or maybe we could give the kinfolk some form of protection with the help of my friends. They are very good at healing.
It's not a bad thought. The problem is, it seems that by the time they take them and decide to hurt them, it is either the instant death stroke like the poison, or like the other dead kin we found, or it is prolonged torture. They don't seem to do these things impulsively or leave it half finished.
Yes, and we can't overwhelm the kin with talents because they can't activate them.
No. I've heard that there are some variants made that they're able to activate, but
technically I think we would need to find a way for it to always be active.
A kin fetch isn't a bad start. They're accustomed to being bound to kin in the first place. And being awake and watching the whole time, really.
I wonder if a kinfetch spirit could activate a Talon. So then we might be able to combine two ideas into one.
Perhaps, but even at the very worst, if they did something very akin to what they were originally intended to do, and they came to us when that kinfolk was under very real lethal threat and could lead us back, it's still something.
It's still something, but it might also be too late for some of them.
It may.
This is why I want to have a meeting with all of the theurges to discuss ideas.
A fair point. It's just hard to think of a way to ensure all their survival without bringing all of them onto the sept, and that is more people than the sept can hold.
No, that's not possible.
It's strange living in a city.
It is. It is not something that I will probably ever get used to.
It's not even that it's so big, it's just so full.
It is. I find the noise and the light difficult. You don't see all the stars.
Yes. Been here so long, I almost forget how bad it smells until we go out.
We are blessed with ways to travel through the Umbra from our totem. I am very happy that half of the time I don't need to get into the city.
You're lucky in that.
Yes.
She'll kind of muse, kind of looking up, considering the mention of not seeing stars and whatnot. It's not even nighttime, but still, the kind of reminder of what she sees on the nightly basis now versus what she used to see back home. It's kind of poignant.
Yeah.
But yes, I should be back to my duties and probably should see if Myriah's awake yet.
She'll cock her head to the side, but won't comment on it.
It's just the lightest little, like, almost disappointed mom style shake of head. It's not a very common expression for 10 Point, but she's just like, sweet lord, these fucking people.
She'll kind of give a small nod at that. Yes, I have kept you from your duties.
It has been a pleasant distraction, at least. But now I go back to it. Until the meeting, then.
Until the meeting.
And she'll go ahead and turn about and making sure she doesn't take this cup with her because it is not hers. Puts that down. Remembers to say so in scene. Puts that down. But yeah, she'll take the mask and go ahead and head back towards the shrine first, perhaps.
No.
To check out this here mask thing that she got. Shiny.
And Platine will probably tend to her garden a little bit, picking some of the herbs, and brings that back inside together with the flask and the cups, and just continue on her business inside as well.
And with that, I think we'll say thank you, players, for playing and watchers for watching. And we'll see you next time on Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.